You're on. Hey everybody, welcome. It is Break Time with Pastor V, and I want to thank you for joining in. And don't forget, as you join, to say hello to us and let us know where you're coming from. I see you, Miss Daviston. We're glad to have you here as part of us, and thank you for being here almost every day. It is a huge encouragement to have you as part of our online fellowship. I think I see Belinda Hodge coming in as well. Thank you. And don't forget to say hello and let us know where you're listening from. And you know what? I've been thinking about the first Easter and what it must have been like a few days after, or, probably a month, and even that whole year. But I'm sure immediately after there had to be this huge buzz of what had happened. I mean, come on, no one had ever risen from the dead before. And now Jesus Christ has, and they're debating whether he's been stolen by his disciples. No one can find his body. But we know today, 2,000 years later, we celebrate our resurrected Savior. So it had to be an exciting time as we think about it. So again, those of you who are just joining, let us know where you're joining from. And I thank you, because I really had a goal with this. As I was saying, if it wasn't for the coronavirus situation, I wouldn't even be doing this. But it's been a blessing to me. It's brought some peace with me, and I have a purpose for doing it. One, I call it Break with Pastor V, not simply because it's in the middle of the day, but it's really designed to help you take a break mentally, emotionally, and kind of get you centered spiritually as well. And so it's to interrupt, to make a change in the direction of your thought patterns. Sometimes we can go throughout the day and we just get caught up and kind of forget about who we are, and we get caught up in the struggle. So it's done for that reason, and two, just to be an encouragement to you. And the third purpose is to give you a sense of encouragement, but not that you can keep that encouragement to yourself, but that you can share that with other people. Again, if you've missed any of the previous sessions, I want to invite you just to go back and check them out. We've been doing this for a few weeks now. Our first section was on a Bible study series on courage. So go ahead and check that out, and I'm sure it'll be a blessing to you as you check that out. Now, in yesterday's message, we saw a pattern in the message from Jeremiah. He was talking to a people who had been exiled. They were in this situation. They were anxious to get out of it. And the word of the Lord was really kind of threefold. One, don't stress. Live life right where you are. Make the best of where you are. Hello, Debbie. And thirdly, to trust me. And because God was saying, hey, I got this. I know the plans I have for you. Today, I want to take a look at a few verses in Psalm 16. We're going to do the whole psalm, but we're going to divide it up between today and tomorrow. But in Psalm 16, we're going to look at verses 1 through 6. And if I had to title this, I would title it, It's Your Choice. And so David, he begins writing in Psalm 16. Let me read the first 6 verses to you. He says, Preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. O my soul, thou hast said to the Lord, Thou art my God. My goodness extendeth not unto thee, but to the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent in whom all my delight. Their sorrows shall be multiplied that hasten after another God, and drink offerings. Their drink offerings of blood will I not offer, nor will I take their names upon my lip. Verses 5 and 6, he says, The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. So check this out. Let's look at this really quick as we break it down. And we see this pattern here. In verse 1, David is asking, he says, Lord, preserve me. Lord, keep me. He actually literally says that. He says, Preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. Keep me. And the whole thing, even in today's, what's going on with today, we are saying, Lord, keep me. Lord, you be my sustainer. You be my refuge. In fact, the word trust is actually the word used for refuge, to be taken to a place of protection, to be lifted up. So he says, God, you protect me and you keep me. And he also approaches God as being a God of strength, a God of refuge. And then in verse 2, he makes a declaration. In 2 and 3, he says, Lord Jehovah, and let's stop right there. He calls him Lord, L-O-R-D. Your thing probably has a capital L-O-R-D, and it means Jehovah. It is a distinction of the God that is, or of the true God. And what he's saying is the true God is my Lord, meaning the true God is my ruler. That is who I surrender to. And he's making this distinction in the original language. He's making a distinction that having the true God versus the other gods, or what we would consider false gods. And he says, all that I have, everything that I have comes from you. And so he's making this declaration that Jehovah is the true God, is my God. And that's important because we're going to see something later on. Well, actually, we'll talk about it now. He lives in what we call a polytheistic environment, meaning they worshiped many gods. And so not only did they worship many gods, but they submitted to those gods, or there was this ideology that, hey, all gods were okay, that they were all the same, much like today. So we'll hear people say today, well, I'm not necessarily Christian, but I'm religious, and I believe that, whichever God you serve, it's all okay. And David was saying, no, I make a huge distinction. The living God, Jehovah, the true God that is, that's who is my ruler. Everything that I have comes from him. And in fact, I don't even submit to anything or have anything to do with those other gods. So he even says, I don't even let their names come from my lips. I don't even give them any sort of credibility. So he makes that huge distinction. And much like today, we're going to have to choose whether we're going to serve the God that is our God, Jehovah, or whether we're going to dabble. That's basically what he's saying. I don't dabble in both worlds. I live separately. In fact, in the next two verses, he makes a distinction between the two systems. And the one system, he says, hey, verse 3, but the saints that are in the earth and to the excellent, that's who I run with. That's who my delight is. And then in verse 4, he makes another distinction of another people, and he says that their sorrows shall be multiplied that hasten after another God. And so he says, hey, judgment's going to happen to those people. So there's two different systems. And so, but I'm not going to be involved. I won't dabble in them. So how about you? How about me? Are we trying to mix the things of God with the things of the world? And what David says, hey, it really doesn't work. And especially in a time like this, we're going to find out who it is that we serve. And so he doesn't speak of their gods. He makes a distinction between the two. And verses 5 and 6, finally, he says, listen, Jehovah, the God that is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. Watch this. Earlier, he said, everything that I have comes from God. But what he wants us to understand is that, listen, it's not about the stuff. It's not about the things that I have. So I have the stability because the most important thing that I have is God himself. That God himself is my reward. Having him is mine inheritance and my cup. And the idea of a cup is just that we drink from a cup. We're refreshed from the contents of the cup. And so he says, the God that is, Jehovah, is my portion. He is my reward. It is him that I trust. And he says, I got some good stuff. So verse 6, he says, the lines fallen unto me are pleasant places, yet I have a godly heritage. So he recognizes what he has, but what he says is, I'm not dependent upon or trusting in what I have. I'm trusting in the God of all that I have. And so today, my brothers and my sisters, real quickly, I just wanted to take a look and remind ourselves, it's not really about the stuff that we have, but if we put our trust in God himself, will realize that we're going to be okay. The things may come, the things may go. Some of people may come out of this COVID thing with businesses that are pretty close. There are churches that will close down because of the because of this virus, because they financially can't be sustained through this. And then there are those who just refuse to change, and things are going to be changing. Society has changed. So they won't make it out. But at the end of the day, it's not about the things. It's about the God that we serve. And so because we serve God, and that God that we serve is faithful, we can depend on him to get us through whatever the situation is that we are facing. So thank you for taking a few minutes, about 15 minutes with Break Time with Pastor V. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to look at how to deal with the stress, the solution to the stress of all of this stuff that's happening. And it's found in the next few verses of this Psalm 16. So you can read it and go with it. And I want to thank those of you who prayed for me yesterday. I did spend more time with God. I did exercise even. And so I'm thankful for that. So I did those two things, spending more time with God, and I got some exercise in as well. And so, I didn't get more sleep than normal. So, in fact, I got less. But keep praying for me. And I walked about 6 miles this morning. So, and I got to walk 6 miles this evening, and I'll get some more exercise in. So, hey, keep praying. Let's trust God and know the God we serve is faithful. And let's not put our hope in God. So choose him. The choice is yours, that we can choose the world system and try to blend it, which won't work, or we can choose God himself. And because God himself is what sustains us and what keeps us, we have confidence we're going to be all right. All righty. Thank you. And yes, Auntie Jennifer, I did exercise. Well, I didn't exercise today. I walked, but I am going to exercise. All right. Thank you. And if you want to exercise with me, go to Facebook and join my trainer, Mike. Look on there. You'll see a schedule. He does his virtual exercise program, and it's going to be all right. I'll see you there. And then if I don't see you at my trainer, Mike, I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Break Time with Pastor V. Peace.